I'm watching MSNBC, and they put breaking. Inflation is at 7.5%, largest inflation since 1982, which was during Reagan, right? So I'm sitting back here, and I'm getting flustered. I'm upset. I am mad because Americans see that, right? They say, "Oh, it's costing Americans $250 on average per family more per month," which is terrible. They didn't get $250 increase in their wages. A lot of people didn't, but a lot of people did, however, change jobs, and in changing jobs, they went way over that 250 extra money per month. So they exceeded inflation based on getting a new job that paid them more. But here's my thing. We have taught people to believe that inflation is this magical thing and that government policy is really inflationary when they do certain things X, Y, and Z. I want, first of all, let's go ahead and understand something. And Larry Summers is a clown. Larry Summers from MIT, who worked for Obama, he is the one who screwed us with Obamacare, and he screwed us with a lot with his neoliberal economic policies. No, I don't care what the hell brother Larry Summers have to say. I love my people, but I don't like these people who only care about the wealthy. Let's give an example. Inflation is high, so here's Manchin. Manchin say, we don't need to be doing anything right now because inflation is high. So let's make babies starve because inflation is high. Let's go ahead and let people suffer. Let the people who need it the most suffer because inflation is high. We don't need to overheat the economy anymore. We don't need to give those poor people any more money. No, we do need to do that. We need to give the poor people more. We need to give the lower middle class more and suck it to the wealthy who has made all their monies on the backs of the middle class. People, please, let's have some faith in ourselves. Let's go ahead and stop allowing these people to hoodwink us into thinking we must do the suffering for the wealthy. That's what they want. It's like, well, if inflation is high, we must do the suffering for the wealthy. Marcia Parent Helton, thank you so kindly for being here. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. Alistair Waters, I think I saluted you. Eric Hayes, you're here with us. Melanie Keaton, I think I saluted you. So here is my thing, folks. There's nothing magical about inflation, and everything you learn about inflation, right? You're supposed to get inflation. In other words, if you have a whole lot of people chasing after goods that are scarce, you get inflation. And justifiable inflation, because what happens is, all right, let's use a car as an example. The inflation in cars is more believable than inflation in steaks, than inflation in corn, than inflation in all those things that are grown right here in the good old USA. The inflation in oil is theft. But let me explain to all of you. Inflation right now is a capitalist system ripping you off. There's nothing that has changed. Now, cars. Yeah, it's true. We can't get the microchips. We can't get the microchips into the cars. So therefore, less cars get built. And more people want cars. So therefore, the guy who would normally says, hey, come on, buy my car. I'll drop the price so that you buy the car. No longer has to do that. So that's inflationary, because now you have 2-3 people bidding on that car. He doesn't have to make a deal. It's like your home, right? But a lot of people bidding on your home, the price of the home goes up. A lot of people not bidding on the home. You keep dropping the price until people buy it. But there's no shortage of corn. There's no shortage of meat. What we have is monopolies who have pricing power, who can say, we are going to charge this for the meat. And since nobody else is there, we can charge whatever we want. It is theft, grand theft. And what I'm trying to illustrate to Americans is we tolerate it because they tell us to. We believe what they tell us. When Larry Summers says, we need to be careful in how we release more monies with Build Back Better because it's too big. Too big for whom? When did you ever say it was too big for corporations, for the executives to get $72 million? I'm going to have somebody on tomorrow. This guy is going through cancer treatments. and they're denying MRIs, and they're denying all kinds of things. These companies are, because they can. My thing to you guys is drop your confounded ideological beliefs and start thinking about humanity, start thinking about yourself, and stop believing the crap that they taught you. I went to school. Let me tell you a little history. I went to school, and I wrote this in my book as I see it. I went to Blinn College for my first year. And then I left that junior college. I said, got to go to UT, the big school, the big everything, okay? And at Blinn College, I took Econ 101. And I never forgot the subject. When they laughed at me, right? Because the idea was this guy was making a whole lot of widgets. And because he made a lot of widgets, the question in the economics class is, would the price fall or go up? And I was like, oh, the price is going to, the price, since you're making a lot of widgets and people really, really want it, they want it, people want it, but you can afford to make more, the price should go down because the guy who's making the widgets he doesn't have to, make as little to make or as much to make the same amount of money. So my thing was from a moral standpoint. In other words, how much is too much? If I make this item and people start to buy it, and I can still make many more and people start to buy it. In a capitalist society, the price of this product, even if I have the ability to manufacture a ton more, because there's so many more people wanting it, the price goes up because there's demand for it. There's no shortage. There's demand. So I can charge a lot. The immorality of being able to do a lot, but just charge a lot because you can for services that are needed. Look, if we're talking about a cell phone or something else that you don't have to have, then who cares what you want to do? You want to be moral, you want to do whatever, do it, whatever, make your money. But for services that are matter, healthcare, for food that people need to depend on, for you to be able to have pricing power and just charge whatever, it is wealth transfer. It is an economic system that allows you to take away people's money because you can. But we don't learn it that way in school. And since we think everything we learn in school is correct, until the right wing says, well, when you learn about history, we don't really want you to learn that kind. I mean, it is amazing, right? So what I'm saying, people, brothers and sisters, I would love for you not to listen solely to me, but I would love for you to unlearn much of what you've thought you've learned in school about economics. Because it was what we learned in economics many a times was fraudulent. It was meant to keep the same system that we have that rips you off alive. Again, there's no shortage in oil. The oil is still there. The ability to take the oil out of the ground is still there. The shortages of the oil comes from market manipulation to ensure a false scarcity. In English, what does that mean? We make believe there's not enough. It's not true, but we make believe it's not enough. And if we can make believe it's not enough, we can charge more. So all the gasoline prices you see out there, that is the plutocracy. That is the wealthy people telling you, we are raising these prices because we can. Who's gonna stop us? Remember, the same amount of pumps that are necessary to pull the oil out is there. The container ships and the ships that move the oil, all of that is there. The demand is not like super humongous. This is what you have to unlearn. Listening to me is not enough. Go through the math. That's what's important. We have learned to rip ourselves off, and we have learned to commit ourselves to praise, to be enslaved to the corporations that rip us off dearly. The nurses that go out and put themselves at risk throughout the country, they're traveling nurses. They figured out, hey, if I travel, because with this pandemic, there are going to be places that need a lot of nurses, I can make more money because I'm in demand, supply and demand. That is a real shortage. There are real shortages of nurses. That's a true shortage. There's no shortage of meat, beef. There's no shortage of eggs. There's no shortage of milk. In fact, we pay them not to put milk on the market. There's no shortage of these things. Yet if you go to the grocery stores, the prices are up. Why can't Biden go out and say capitalism is ripping us off? Why can't he say it? Instead he says, I am a capitalist, but capitalism without competition is nothing more than, what's the word, Ashley? Capitalism, as opposed to, it is ripping you off. But capitalism with competition, exploitation, thank you, Redden, exploitation. Capitalism is exploitation. And those of you who continue to breathe by the religion of this thing, you continue to breathe this religion. Look, I love free enterprise. I love it. I love free enterprise. I love good free enterprise with a solid social safety net. That is what they have fooled you into believing that capitalism is. But you know what it is? It is that CEO making $75 million and then saying you need to take a cut. It is a guy, what's the name of the company that made tractors? They just went on strike and finally won. Help me out here, Yvette Avery. You're our union person because you guys won that battle. The factory that makes these tractors, John Deere makes all the money. They make factories. The productivity is through the roof. They're selling a lot of tractors. The CEO is making a killing. And what are they asking the employees to do? Take a cut. So the CEO makes millions and they ask the people to take a cut. You know how we are going to change this? You have to change it. You have to stop believing the Kool-Aid. You have to stop believing you have to stop believing the indoctrination, because the only way this economic system continues and is maintained this way, the only way is if you stop believing the fallacies that you have learned. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.